Welcome back here to the Bloomington Ice Garden as we're getting ready for the start of the second period here on PSBMN.com. We apologize for the slight connection issue there in the first period. We were trying a different broadcast encoder for tonight's game. In other words, a different method to broadcast the game. If you're not familiar with the technical terms, didn't work out for us so well, so we just went back to our old reliable way, so things should be smooth here for the remainder of the game. As you can see, it's the Blaze out to a 3-1 lead here over the Eagles. As picking up the goals were Mill Missling. He has 2 of the Burnsville 3 goals. Sam Dockery has the other for Bloomington Kennedy. It was Michael Jost picking up the goal. It was a good game through most of the first period. Burnsville jumped out to a 2-0 lead before the Eagles even had registered a shot on goal. Then it was Jost getting a loose puck out in front that he was able to deflect to the back of the net to make it 2-1. But then from there, Burnsville got a goal from Missling, his second on the night, right before the end of the first period, and that put the Blaze ahead 3-1, and that's currently where we stand so far in this one. Eagles will be going from left to right. Burnsville actually make that right to left for Bloomington Kennedy. Burnsville will be going from left to right. Weston, I think I got to get one of those old elementary Sesame Street videos to tell me left and right.
Elmo will help you out with that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I was blabbering on. Kennedy had a pretty good shot on goal just a moment ago. It'll be played over along the near side boards. It'll trickle away to number 11, James Hartley. Near the blue line, now Blaze will tip that back to their defense. They'll go across to number 3, Jack Atchin. Fired into the zone, and now it'll be an icing call here against Burnsville with 15:48 left in the second period. Don't forget, you can also tune into this game if you live in Bloomington on Channel 96. Great way to watch the game on the big screen TV. Available to all the Comcast subscribers in Bloomington. If you don't have Comcast and you don't live in Bloomington, I guess you're kind of out of luck on that front. You'll have to listen to and watch us on PSBMN.com. Slowed down by Lubismeyer, who by far has my favorite goalie name of anyone I've seen so far this season. I think you're right, Weston, talking about it. That seems like the type of name they come up with on The Simpsons or Family Guy. No offense to Lubismeyer, yeah.
I'm thinking Swedish or Danish.
There you go, Danish. You might actually be right on that one.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Shots in the dark, but I'm feeling it.
Yeah, that kind of sounds Danish to me. I have no idea why. I think we can eliminate a couple of nationalities. I know it's not Russian.
I don't think there's one V in it, so it can't be Russian.
Yeah. It's not Hispanic either, so we've eliminated a couple going by our process of elimination. It'll be tied up along the end wall behind the Bloomington Kennedy net. Burnsville will pick it up. They try to send it across, but Nick Missling had his stick tied up as they were trying to hit him out in front. Lubismeyer will slow it down and play it over to Havli. Forscher, what a nifty little move to avoid the Bloomington Kennedy check as he'll dump it in. There to pick it up will be Connor Jensen, who has 16 points on the season. He's the leading scorer among blue line players for the Eagles as they'll dump it into the zone. And there to get it will be Sam Rossini. They'll get that up ahead to Gregoro. It'll be slowed down by David Johnson. Kennedy gets that out to Jost. Couldn't get a clean stick on that. Now it trickles across the crease. Jost would have had a breakaway, but he was being bothered by the Burnsville defense and couldn't quite get the angle. But boy, Weston, a couple of good looks here early in this second period for Kennedy.
You said it, Brett. Grudesmeyer gave up a rebound, and it was a wide open net. Burnsville forward was just one skate away, and we would have had a one-goal game. But props to Grudesmeyer for making the first save, and props to his name.
There you go. That is, well, an icing call with 13:38. Hopefully we have none of his relatives listening, or otherwise they might not be happy with us.
Maybe they could email us with the heritage.
There you go. What a transition. We got the chemistry going. PSBchannel4@gmail.com is our address for tonight's game. Again, PSBchannel4@gmail.com. You can also message us on Twitter at PSBMN, and A tough break there from David Johnson, as that will get deflected into the net. And Johnson just does not look like he quite has, I don't know how to put it, is just having one of those off nights. That's a save he normally makes. Let's try to grab that here on replay right off the faceoff.
He just seems out of his element. I mean, he was scored on within the first 2 minutes, uncharacteristic of his play. Burnsville's just been laying it on thick. The constant pressure, the constant peppering with pucks, I think it's finally getting to him.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock David Johnson. It's just normally he's always looks like one of the best goaltenders in the state, but there's a lot of goaltenders at any level will attest to. You can sometimes have those off nights every once in a while, as again, that's a save that David Johnson normally makes, and now he'll cover up that one to force a face-off here with a little over 13 minutes to go here in the second period. It's kind of the old adage, whether it's a pitcher or if you're a quarterback or a goalie, you just have those nights every once in a while where you're not seeing the ball, seeing the puck, or throwing it real well, depending on what sport you play.
And goalie is a very high-pressure position, probably the most important of all of them on the field, or on the ice.
Field ice, we got it.
On the playing surface.
There you go. Burnsville will have it back in their own zone as they'll pass it over to the right side to Zach Wagner. In fact, I was so surprised by that goal, I didn't even catch the number of who scored it from Burnsville. It was one of their blue line players, but try to get you the official scoring when we get to our second intermission. Good at the line, Jost trying to work his way around a stick that had fallen to the ground. Now just bangs a player down, and a loose puck trickles away to a teammate, and they score.
Unbelievable. What an answer.
What I love about, if you watch this here on replay, Jost not only had to contend with the Burnsville players, he had to contest with a stick that had fallen to the ice. He had a cut in his skates a couple of times, and then just pushed down a Burnsville player to get that puck loose, and there to clean it up, I think, was Hank Rowers to make it 4-2. Contending with not two, but three elements. The defense, the goaltender, and a loose stick.
He evades them all and manages to find the net.
And it was Hank Rowers that gets credit for the goal. That was that unassisted. Michael Jost has to get an assist on that one as he laid the hit to get that puck loose. So for now it'll be unassisted. Although I would certainly give Jost an assist on that one. Spun and dumped in. Burnsville will have it. Sam Rossini trying to skate with it outside the zone. And now here comes Burnsville from the left wing side. They'll work their way into the slot. Good save by David Johnson. Get a pad on that one. Now they try a home run pass, to say the least. I don't think even LeBron James would be able to leap out of the air to grab that pass.
Tough one.
Yeah. And now from the left side, Burnsville will pass that over to Brock Besser. Very dangerous player. Try the old change up and get that on net. Usually you see players blast a shot from back then, but he decided to do a little off-speed shot. Take a look at this one here on the replay. In Besser, excellent numbers on the season, 19 goals and 23 assists. I think that off-speed shot had you fooled too up there in the camera booth.
Completely.
11:31 here in the second period. Face-off will be to the left of David Johnson. The Anthony Rickberg in the face-off circle. They'll push it back behind the Bloomington Kenny net. They'll turn it over. Glances off the side of the cage. And now still held in at the blue line. They'll throw it in down deep. Backhanded to the corner. Brock Besser will get it. Besser throws it out in front. Had an open player. Sam Dockery, but good job by the Kennedy defense to tip that away. Burnsville from their own blue line will get that up ahead. Goes off the skate of a Eagle player, and now at least to a chance here for Burnsville, but good defense again played as Dockery couldn't stick handle his way around the defense as falling to the ground, and stopping it was Jacob Wells. Besser fakes a slap shot, then fires a wrist shot from the lower slot area. I think Johnson may have gotten a piece of that one to help deflect it wide. 10:35 here in the second period as it's held in. Comes loose near the circle, and now it'll be whistled down. Always follow us on Twitter. We're at PSBMN as we provide updates all season long on Southwest Metro sports, whether you're a fan of Jefferson, Kennedy, Eden Prairie, or Edina. We cover all those schools here in the Southwest Metro. Faceoff will actually be deep in the Burnsville end. And now here comes the Blaze, 3-on-2. They pass it to the weak side. Johnson with a great save sliding across the crease. A good sharp pass delivered there by the Blaze. Had a good look to try to fire that one in.
That's looking a lot more like Johnson. Some stereotypical behavior is returning.
Well, the face off to the right of Johnson here with 10-20. Burnsville will win the draw. They'll throw it out in front. Some bodies go flying. Now it'll go out to the neutral zone, and there to get it will be Jake Thomas. Slapped back in. It'll go just wide of Lubismeyer. And they'll pass it over into the corner. Wagner will have it. Guided in towards the net and steered away by Lubismeyer. They'll bank it off a half ball and get it out to neutral. Try to poke that up ahead. Lightly slapped in by Cole Borchard. And now it'll be Spockhammer, but they'll be whistled off sides here with 9.5 to go in the second period. So faceoff will be just outside the Burnsville zone. Kyle Prady in the faceoff circle as they'll draw it back. Played along the rail and skate with it out along the right wing's board, so it's going to be dumped in by the Gregorio. Four to 2 so far in this game as Burnsville's out in front. They'll try to dig that one out. Burnsville will get it. They'll throw it out in front, but nobody home on the centering pass as the Blaze will have to regroup from their own zone. They'll set it up along the left wing side. Here comes the Gregorio. He fires a shot. David Johnson makes the save in a butterfly position with some hitting after the whistle. Okay, another look here at the good save from Johnson. It's a good quick wrist shot from the Gregorio, but better save by Kennedy's senior captain. Don't have any scores to report to you around the area. Trying to get an updated score on the Kennedy Lakeville South girls hockey game. Well, I try to look that up. I will let you know that Kennedy just picked up a penalty as heading to the box will be Jacob Wells. Also a Burnsville player will head in as well. That's Sam Rossini, so I'm guessing these will be coincidentals unless they give an extra 2 to somebody. Well, we have a halftime score actually from Kennedy High School for the girls basketball team. They trail Lakeville South 30-26 at halftime. That could be a big upset in the making as the Kennedy girls among the top 5 teams in the state, while Lakeville South kind of a 500 team. And the Eagles trailing that one by 4 points at the half. So that one might be a good one to tune into between periods if you're watching the hockey game here on PSB. Not saying to necessarily tune away from Western tonight, but maybe check in on that one.
I'm still waiting on the call here where if they're just going to be coincidental 2 minutes offsetting or if one's going to be, as you said, tack another 2 on.
I think there are just going to be coincidentals as now loose. Johnson gave up a rebound for just a moment. Now he sprawls and covers it back up. So face-off will be to the left of David Johnson. And Rickford will try to draw it back to the blue line. So we're Remain 5-on-5 as we're just about halfway through second period. A glance off Johnson, and the cage comes loose. It'll be a face-off deep here in the Kennedy zone. Will be our, I believe, second to last broadcast here of Kennedy hockey on PSP. They do have another game coming up on Saturday against the Minneapolis Novas. I believe BEC TV might be covering that game. You can go to their website, bectv.org. But after that, of course, the Eagles will head to the section playoffs, where it'll certainly be a different look for them this year, playing in Class 1A. They'll be playing in the 12-team Section 2 with a lot of other schools in the metro area. Eagles are currently the third seed out of 12 in that section, with the heavy favorite, of course, being the state powerhouse Breck team. Currently the top three teams in Section 2, Breck number 1, Orono number 2, and the Eagles would be number 3. And I believe with a top 4 seed, you would get a bye and automatically advance to the quarterfinals of Section 2. Here comes the Eagles trying to stick handle their way into the Burnsville zone. And they'll lose the puck. Picking it up is Cole Borchard. Now from behind the net, they try to find Wagner. They'll tip it outside the zone. Sam Schmitz will retreat behind his net and play it with his forehand over to Spockhammer. Burnsville will get it. They'll stick handle out in front. They get tripped up to the ice by James Hartley. There's some grandparents tuning into the game tonight. I'd like to say hello to Jim, who's tuning in from Texas watching our game this evening. Cheering on James Hartley and the rest of the Eagles this evening. Giving a very talented Burnsville team a good battle here in this game. This is a Burnsville team which a lot of people feel could make a run at the Class 2A state championship this season. They're rated number 7. They've had good games against a number of state powerhouses. They beat Edina earlier this season. They tied Eden Prairie 3-3. Given the number 1 team in the state, Lakeville North, some good battles over the regular season so far, including an overtime loss. So this Burnsville team has plenty of talent to make a run in Class 2A state. David Johnson will cover it up, and we'll get a whistle here with just under 7 minutes to go. And if you're interested in watching some section hockey this season, we'll actually have some broadcasts on PSP, as we'll be teaming up with Minnesota Hockey Magazine to cover a lot of Class 2A playoff games. It'll be a pay-per-view setup to provide live video of the games. Unfortunately, the state does not allow free live video of the games, so we went with a pay-per-view model for that. Check out Minnesota Hockey Magazine to find a list of games that will be broadcast in the playoffs. Not sure if we're doing any Class 1A games, but could change as the time goes on. David Johnson gets a pad on that puck with 6.5 to go here in the second period. Tied up along the far side wall. As a Burnsville player will get thrown up into the boards. Burnsville from the corner will lose the puck as Kennedy able to steer that away. Rowers trying to work his way towards the net. He had the second goal of the game for the Eagles, which came towards the beginning stages here of the second period. Burnsville will stick handle it into the Kennedy zone. There's a shot that goes just wide, trying to beat David Johnson high stick side. Eagles from the corner gets deflected out of the air. It'll be a high stick against Burnsville and now whistled down. And we should get a face-off deep in the Blaze end as those coincidental penalties have expired to Rossini and Jacob Wells. 4-2 here in this South Suburban hockey matchup. Off the face-off, Burnsville able to work their way into the zone. Here comes a break for number 7, Zach Wagner, forcing his way to the net. He'll draw a penalty, and now the question is, could this possibly be a penalty shot? Let's get another look to see if he had the angle. And dial it up here on replay, as you'll see it right off the face-off. Looks like it'll just be a run-of-the-mill penalty assessed to the Eagles. But, oh, man, I think you could make a pretty good case for a penalty shot on that one, just looking at here on replay.
I would have made the case for a penalty shot. He was en route, in the middle of a shot when the penalty took place. I think he was even in the crease.
And it looked like he had a clear path to the net. But it'll just be a 2-minute penalty.
But this Burnsville power play line is incredibly dangerous, as you said, with 30% success rate on their power play.
The Eagles did kill off an earlier Burnsville power play back in the first period, and now they're able to clear the zone where it'll be slowed down by Lubismeyer.
I guess you could say they did kill the power play, but were literally scored on within 5 seconds after it ending.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think it was right about 5 seconds after, if I remember right. And
I don't think the players were even back to their benches yet.
Rossini will have it from behind his own net. We'll send that up ahead to Wagner, who will tip it into the zone. Jacob Wells will have it. Wells flips that way up into the air. And it'll kill off a little more time here on the power play, which is about halfway over. Spinning is Brock Besser. Besser sends that over to the left side to Halvey. Besser then fires a shot right on. It's the goaltender David Johnson who's able to make the save.
Burnsville, once again, not looking too impressive with their power play. Even though they scored shortly after it, the 2-minute duration in the first power play was anything but impressive. And this one so far is not surmounting to be too much to write home about.
Yeah, they got the good rush from Brock Besser, but that was more in transition than from a set power play just a moment ago. You're right. Eagles looking pretty solid here on the penalty kill. Now they're able to go through some traffic right on against David Johnson, who's there to cover it up with 29 seconds here on the power play remaining for Burnsville. 3:50 here in the second period. They could take this if you're the Eagles, down by just 2 goals heading into the third period. The longer they can keep this game close, the more pressure they can put here on Burnsville in terms of nerves, as they can make this a 1-goal game, certainly make it interesting against this 2A powerhouse, the Burnsville Blaze. Under 10 seconds on the power play, as it'll be cleared away, and that's going to do it here for the power play of the Blaze, as the Eagles are now full strength.
This is exactly what happened last time.
And here they go in transition. Johnson, who made the initial save, gave up a rebound. A little deja vu, huh?
That was basically a replay if they would have capitalized, but here comes the Eagles.
Here comes Spockhammer, a shot, and he scores! Spockhammer makes it a 1-goal game as he's able to beat Lubismeyer low, and it's 4-3.
That was an amazing shot, an amazing turn of events for the Eagles, and we're at a 1-goal game.
My goodness, could we have an upset in the making, as the upstart Kennedy Eagles just down by 1 goal here against a Class 2A top 10 team in Burnsville. Back to live action, under 3 minutes to go in the second period. It'll be dumped into the zone. Lubismeyer to slow it down.
For the Eagles, number 8, Brent Spockhammer. The first assist goes to number 25,
Spockhammer gets the goal with 3:02 left in the second period, and now here comes Burnsville across the blue line. Besser fires that on. Johnson there for the save. Interesting to see shots on goal, because you would imagine Burnsville would held a heavy advantage in the shots on goal department, but Boy, have the Eagles been opportunistic offensively in this game.
You alluded to it earlier in this matchup, but the Eagles are very good at making the most out of their offensive shots, saying that they're commonly outshot by teams by a large margin, but yet the games are always close.
Rowers will have it down low. He scored the second goal of the game. Will throw it out to center. Trickles through. Johnson backhands it to the corner. And even though the Eagles have scored 2 goals here in the second period, I want to say that was maybe the first time they had a forecheck established.
I think you're correct, Brett.
Yeah, not a lot. You're not falling asleep on me, are you?
No, you just caught me.
All right, Rowers will pass that across to the left side. The camera stops moving. I know they have a problem. Brock Besser works his way into the zone. Johnson with some trouble with it, but still is able to make the save. And just going back to this point again, I'm just not sure if Johnson is seeing the puck really well in this game, as he kind of awkwardly made that save.
Good thing he didn't give up the rebound either, because there was a couple Burnsville players knocking on his doorstep.
Granted, that is one of the best players in the state taking that shot, but it was from a pretty good distance from Brock Besser. They'll pass it over to the left side, overshoot him. Sam Wickstrom will have it. Wickstrom will bank it off the half wall, now fired right back in. Johnson there to backhand it. Now cleared away. It'll trickle in on to Lubismeyer. Burnsville will have it from behind the net. And icing waved off by the official, as I think it was actually a Kennedy player who shot that back in the zone. They try to stick handle down low. Puck still loose as a couple of bodies go flying as we approach the 1 minute mark.
Play remaining in the second period. 1 minute remaining.
And now they're trying to work their way on the wraparound, now centered by Cole Borchard up top. That shot goes wide. Wagner to get it. Wagner had his pocket pick. Tied up along the end wall, and this is good defense here by Bloomington Kennedy, really keeping that puck along the rail, not letting Burnsville have anywhere at center. Going out in front, and again, good job covering up the center area. They tried to center it, but it was deflected away by Jacob Wells. Wagner there to hold it. Will trickle back behind the net. Wells will try to tie it up. Approaching 10 seconds. Still held in. There's a shot through traffic that goes just wide. Kennedy holding on for dear life here at the end of the second period. Down to 3 seconds. Another shot. Still loose. Cleared away. And that'll do it here for the second period. As it's 4-3, Burnsville with the lead. Stay tuned. We have lots more on the way here on PSB Media. Welcome back here to the second intermission here on PSB Media. We just tweeted about here at PSBMN. If you follow us on Twitter, have an upset alert. As the Blaze only on top of Kennedy 4-3 here in the second intermission. The Blaze holding a heavy shot advantage. I had a couple of fans ask me if I was keeping track of shot margin. I unfortunately am not. Unless you, the man of many skills, I don't think you are up there either.
Not keeping track of shots on goal, but I would estimate that Burnsville's up by a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't have the official numbers, but yeah, Burnsville leads heavily in shots on goal, but the only stat that counts is the score sheet, and it's only a Blaze on top 4-3, as the Eagles have been very opportunistic offensively, and boy, if David Johnson, the Kennedy goaltender, had been playing like he normally does all season, the Eagles very well might have the lead. Again, that's not to criticize David Johnson giving up 4 goals. It's just we're so used to him being so stellar. It's surprising to see him give up 4 goals through 2 periods. But the offense has come through as they trail only 4-3 here against the Burnsville Blaze. Let's give you a rundown of scoring. Will Missling has 2 goals for Burnsville. Sam Dockery has 1. Brock Bessler with another. For Bloomington Kennedy, their 3 goals have come from Hank Rowers, Michael Jost, and Grant Spokehammer. And Burnsville actually had a 2-0 lead in this game before the Kennedy Eagles even had registered a shot on goal. But trailing 2-1, it was Michael Jost who scored to make it 2-1. Burnsville picked up a goal at the very end of the first period to make it 3-1. The Blaze then went up 4-1 on a goal by Will Missling, but then it was 2 goals at the end of the second period by the Eagles by Spokehammer and Hank Rowers, and that's where we stand here in this 1-goal game. So make sure you tune in for an entire third period. Who knows, you could be looking at one of the biggest upsets here during the high school hockey season, but still a long ways to go with 17 minutes left in this one. You're listening to high school hockey here on PSB Media. Well, welcome back here to the Bloomington Ice Garden. As upset alert in the making. Burnsville only on top of Kennedy by a 4-3 score. Blaze actually number 5 in the latest Let's Play Hockey ranking. Kennedy, on the other hand, they're actually ranked for the first time in the Class 1A poll. They're number 20, but either way, this would be an upset of epic proportions if the Eagles were to rally back and try to win this one. And Weston, you and I were talking here before the third period that you would think Burnsville's depth might play a role here in the third period, so it's important that Kennedy goaltender David Johnson be, well, more than on top of his game.
I think you got it exactly right, Brett. Johnson does seem to have settled down a little bit after letting in the first 4. That may sound like a lot, but he kind of hit his groove, made about 5 or 6 great saves there at the end of the second period. Burnsville's depth, though, is going to be hard to match for Kennedy. We'll see. We're surely in for an exciting third period.
Yeah, it's funny you say something like in a groove after letting in 4. That doesn't sound very good, but gosh, he's probably faced at least 30, 35 shots so far through the first couple periods in this game, if not even more than that. Hank Rowers will try to hold it in. Kennedy will be going from left to right. Burnsville from right to left. There, I got it right this time. I messed that up in the second period.
I saw you checking Sesame Street.
Yeah, I know.
In between periods.
Here's your right side, there's your left. Wagner, who's played a good game for the Blaze, will leave that for a teammate. Big slap shot is blocked by Michael Jost, and now he'll fire that up into the Burnsville student section. So it'll be a face-off, which will be outside the zone. It'll be inside the zone. Decent turnout here on the Kennedy side. I'd venture to say they're maybe halfway to 2/3 full, which is good to see. Also good to see this program having a good season as they've had some real down years since they made their last state tournament run in the early 90s. Burnsville will have it as they'll center it out in front. David Johnson there to get the deflected pass and cover it up. Of course, Kennedy had some good teams back in the 80s and early 90s, but demographics kind of changed here on the east side of Bloomington, and they haven't had a lot of success recently, but a lot of people here in East Bloomington were pointing to this year's squad as being one that could make a state tourney run, and of course they certainly have a good chance with a veteran squad, and also helps that now they've been moved down to Class 1A, which really is a good fit for them, I think. They qualify to play 1A hockey enrollment-wise, but I think in terms of facilities and such and youth programs, 1A is definitely a good fit for them. Face-off will be to the right of David Johnson. And off the face-off, they'll have that along the near side boards, where it'll be tied up. They'll try to throw that out in front. They'll get it out to Sam Schmitz. And Schmitz fans on an attempt to dump it in. This is really the style that Kennedy needs to play here in this third period. Got to play good defense and try to keep Burnsville along the rail and take advantage of any chances you get, because, as we know, Burnsville certainly has a lot more depth here than this Eagles team, and it's been all Blaze here in the first 2 minutes, with the exception of those first 10 seconds where the Kennedy Eagles had a little bit of a rush going.
Burnsville's depth is showing here. They seem to be quicker to the puck, always the ones putting on the pressure. See if Kennedy can pick it up a notch. They're going to have to if they have any chance of winning this game.
A couple of opportunities is all they need. It'll be loose near the boards by us along the penalty box here at the Bloomington Ice Garden, one of the famed arenas here in Minnesota high school hockey. Bloomington Ice Garden hosting Section 2 and Section 6 AA semifinal action a week from Saturday. If things work out, I believe we'll have a live video of whichever Section 2 and Section 6 semifinals will be out here at the Ice Garden coming up a week from Saturday, so you want to make sure you tune in for that. 14:25 left here in the third period. The Eagles will have it deep in the Burnsville zone, and so they'll try to hold it in and get some extra players onto the ice off the change. Tied up along the near boards. It'll skirt away to the Blaze, and they're able to clear it out. Connor Jensen tried to dump it. It was blocked. Now it'll be Sam Schmitz from his own zone. Schmitz will pass it over right side and overshoot his teammate, Jake Rowers. And even though they get an icing call, those are the types of passes they need to attempt. As they say, an A for effort, just didn't have the execution down. I like the idea, though.
You got to try to do something to get Burnsville off their guard. They seem to be rather comfortable here at the beginning of the third period. Kennedy might be trying to show a couple different looks, maybe get their skates tied up so they can get some opportunities.
Try to hit those home run passes, too. That's probably going to be their best opportunity. David Johnson threw some traffic there to make the save.
This time does not get tricked with the 5-hole shot. Squeezes those pads tight around the puck, makes the save.
And you were saying it looked like he had kind of caught his groove at the end of the second period, and I think you're absolutely right, because earlier in that game, Johnson had been having trouble with those types of shots where he wasn't necessarily giving up rebounds, but just didn't look comfortable making those saves. That time was all over the puck. We push back behind the cage. Burnsville will have it. They'll send it up to the point. Shot through traffic, and David Johnson again makes a save through a whole bunch of traffic.
A little extracurricular activity.
Mm-hmm. And it's good you bring that up, because that's been one of the Achilles heels of this Kennedy Eagles team this season, is that they've picked up some poorly timed penalties this season. Again, the one I can think of is back when they played Orono. Trailed 2-0 in the third period. Scored a goal to make it 2-1, but immediately after cutting the deficit in half, they picked up a 5-minute major, and that led to a couple of Orono power play goals. So certainly got to stay disciplined. Here's an opportunity for Burnsville. Good job to cut off the wraparound opportunity. Now the Eagles will skate with it out to neutral. Burnsville will pass it over to the right side. They'll overshoot Brock Besser. Very dangerous player. Besser will have to hold up at the blue line. Now the Eagles will have it. They'll pass it over to the right side to Wickstrom. Wickstrom will fire it into the end. Will be slowed down by the goaltender, Lubismeyer, who has not seen a whole lot of action in this game, but Eagles have taken advantage of their chances against him. It'll be dumped into the zone. Wells to pick it up. Wells will get tied up along the boards, actually lose the puck. Now they go up to the point. Shot deflected wide. Now there to get it is Tom Gresham. It's very important here for Kennedy, as it looks like they actually have their third line on the ice, and boy, any minutes they can get from that third line is huge for them. Don't think they're necessarily looking for offense from that third line, but just to try to keep Burnsville in check to give those top two lines some rest.
Yep, so far in this first roughly 4.5 minutes of the third period, it has been mainly Burnsville, but really Johnson not giving up any too good of looks or rebounds or anything, just being rock solid, and Kennedy looking to surmount a little bit of offense that at least they're going to have to in order to tie this ballgame up.
And again, good defense played by Kennedy. They have not given Burnsville a whole lot of good looks here in this third period. Not familiar with them if you're just tuning in. This is really the style of play that they use. Very defensive style and taking advantage of some transition opportunities. Now, speaking of which, Kennedy will try to get something going here in the Burnsville zone as they'll have it in the corner. They'll stick it all the way to the slot. Shot goes just wide. And again, we were kind of saying Kennedy might get maybe 3 or 4 good looks here in this third period, and that was one of them, but they just fired it over the net. Now good at the line. Boy, that looked offsides to me, but great defense played by a number 20, Kyle Brady, to break up that. And now here come the Eagles in transition. Rowers dumps it for a teammate, trickles out in front, but steered away by the goaltender, Lubismeyer. Here comes Burnsville across the blue line. Able to avoid a check was Sam Rossini. Now from the corner, they'll flip that up ahead. It goes past Michael Jost. It'll be Burnsville's Peter Halvey with it, setting that up along the right side, able to clear it out. Bresnahan will fire that back in. Now sent up ahead. They're 2-on-4 as they were off on a change. The Eagles are able to clear that, and it'll go on net, which is big. That'll allow them to make the change and force Burnsville to move it in transition. And kind of an untimely high stick there from Sam Schmitz, but it was touched up by Burnsville, so no whistle. Now they'll send that over to the left side. It's Spookhammer firing a shot, and Lubismeyer there to make the save here with just over 10 minutes in the third period.
Little spark to their step as Kennedy has been throwing some pucks on net, even if it was from 3/4 away from their side. Still, it's good to put more and more shots on and keep the pressure up on Burnsville's Grutismeyer.
Exactly.
Danish descent, I've heard. Still waiting on that email.
Here's a shot that goes just wide. Under 10 minutes, Sam Schmidt, a shot that gets blocked. Down to the corner, Rowers. First line on the ice here for the Eagles. This is the unit you would think that's going to have to try to come up big. Jost trying to fight for it. Jost is tied up. Eagle fans wanted a penalty. They don't get one. Jost will have it out at neutral. They'll bank it off the wall, try to send that up ahead to Rowers. They'll go out to neutral where Sam Schmitz will fire it in. As the Eagles go off on a change. Banked off the wall, it'll be Schmitz. Schmitz will go across to the left side. Bresnahan will send that up ahead, but pass is picked off. Now banked off the wall, Burnsville will have it. As it'll be Carter Dupree. He'll leave it for a teammate behind the net. And off the wall it goes. Now poked into the zone. And still good. And again, good defense played by Kennedy. They're just not letting Burnsville have that slot area at all here in the third period. And now dumped again.
On net.
Here come the Eagles dumping it into the zone. And here the Kennedy fans getting into it here in this one. This is an exciting game for them. They pulled an upset earlier this season as they, actually not too long ago, I think a little more than a week ago, when they knocked off Bloomington Jefferson, their crosstown rivals, by a score of 2-1. And who knows the last time Kennedy beat Jefferson in a boys hockey game. It's before they had online stats dating back to the 2002-2003 season. They ventured to say it had been a long time since Kennedy had knocked off Burnsville in a hockey game as well over their years playing in the Lake Conference and now in the South Suburban Conference. They're able to force it back out to the neutral zone. A little over 8 minutes to go. Behind the net. I'll try to poke that out into the slot, but again, good defense play. Now they get into the slot. There's a shot from Halsey that goes wide. Burnsville will pinch in from defense. Now they'll get it on the doorstep. Try to throw it again towards center, but good defense played. And now Kennedy tried to find Nick Williams, but he couldn't get his stick on that pass. Rowers will play that over to Connor Jensen on the left side. Jost can't get it. Ricksburg now up ahead along left wing boards. Here's a one-on-one opportunity. Shot goes wide from Dylan Weigel. Weigel let it go past his stick. It'll be loose in the corner. And here comes a transition opportunity for the Eagles, but Rowers can't quite get his stick on that. They'll now dump it in. Lubismeyer will slow it down. Schmitz will get hit up into the boards, tied up in the corner. Boy, so far I think we've kind of been off on our prediction of having this be all Burnsville in the third period. Last 5 minutes or so has kind of been back and forth between these two teams.
You've said it, Brett. Kennedy is stepping up a little bit, trying to tie this ballgame back up. And Burnsville is looking like a little sluggish. Maybe some fatigue is setting in.
And you would think if Kennedy were putting on pressure, it's from taking chances and leaving some opportunities the other way, but has not been the case at all, as defensively, Burnsville's just getting really no grade A chances here in the third period. If anything, I'd say Kennedy probably holds the edge here in the third period in terms of good scoring chances. As the face-off will be to the left of Lubesmeyer. Here comes the Blaze, sending that up along the right side. They'll work their way, backhanded shot, rebound given up by Johnson. He's now out of his crease. Still loose near the dot, poked away for a moment. At least allows Johnson to set back up. A little too fancy on that pass to get it back into the corner. And they're able to force it back out to the neutral zone. Play to the end wall of the Kennedy zone. It'll be tied up. Coming away with it, so it'll be Sam Rossini. Goes across the crease, but nobody there. And cleared away. 5.5 remain here in the third period. Burnsville on top of Kennedy by a score of 4-3. His very well have an upset in the making here, with getting the Eagles down by just one goal. Tell you, the far side fans are going to go nuts here if Kennedy can pop one in here in the last 5 minutes.
There'll be a party in the parking lot.
Well, if they score two, I don't know what they would do. So like I said, it's been a while since they have knocked off Burnsville in a hockey game. Here comes Rowers, shot blocked. Rowers up to Schmitz at the point, had it go off his skate. And here comes an opportunity for Burnsville in transition. They're able to get it to the right side, now go back across. Would have been a tough pass to make. Now a shot from the point, blocked by Schmitz. The game defensively he's had, as they'll pass it over on the left side. 4:50 remains here in the third period. And Burnsville will have it. Across, Gressler will try to cross the blue line. Now the rest of his line mates are on, coming off the bench. But stolen away by Bloomington Kennedy, here with 4.5. From the corner, they gave it to Dockery, nearly redirected into the net. Well-designed play there from Burnsville. And now here's an opportunity for Kennedy, a shot right on, and making the save is Lubesmeyer with 4:09 here in period number 3. And thanks for tuning in here on PSB Media, coverage of Kennedy versus Burnsville hockey. Coming up tomorrow, we'll have more high school hockey on the way with Eden Prairie versus Hopkins in a boys matchup. Burnsville, Wagner works his way into the zone, throws it out in the center, and they can't get it quite on net. Under 4 minutes to go. It'll be dumped into the corner. And we'll have to see if the Eagles start to really open things up here offensively. And it's time becoming an issue. Wells will have it. I think David Johnson thought there was a delayed penalty as he was skating out of his crease for a moment there. Shot blocked. Wells will try to hold it. And now cleared out to neutral. Sam Schmitz will have it. They'll fire it into the zone. Sprawling to glove it down was Lubesmeyer. And now Connor Jensen will push that back into the zone. 3 minutes remain in regulation. Burnsville on top, and here's a turnover. A shot deflected up into the netting by Lubesmeyer. Oh, got to be careful in your own zone.
Whoa.
Yeah, you said it.
That could have been the opportunity. That was a golden egg right there for the Eagles. A golden eagle egg.
Rowers with an opportunity there.
I'm here.
So under 3 minutes to go as it'll be cleared away. Jensen to pick it up as he'll try to bank it over to Sam Schmitz. Again, they try to throw it in front, but good block there by Kennedy. Still loose in front, David Johnson there to cover it up.
I think we've got a Blaze player down.
Yeah, Burnsville player is slow to get up. Well, while they tend to him, we'll go ahead and take a timeout ourselves. You're listening to high school hockey here on PSB Media.
The playoffs are looming, and the impact of the regular season can take a toll on the body. At Performance Therapy Innovations, they can treat you or your Eagles for those nicks and ailments and help restore athletes physically and mentally for the most important time of the season. Performance Therapy Innovations will get you back to doing the things you love while minimizing your discomfort and maximizing your performance. Performance Therapy Innovations, helping Eagle athletes unleash their full potential. Located off Valley View Road and 169, online at pti-tc.com.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the Mulch Store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the Mulch Store to drop off those materials, or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Lenslink, Clinic Administrator and Care Coordinator for Advocare Clinics, and I want to welcome you to our facility. If you're looking at this right now, you're probably searching for a new location for care for a new or chronic injury. And I want to assure you that we have a lot of services in one location that are convenient for you, and we can combine more options for you than you'll find at most other pain management or big box medical clinics.
I like the staff. They're friendly, they're supportive, they're encouraging, they're cautious, and they rearrange my exercise schedule based on what my symptoms are.
I want to welcome you and invite you to stop by for a free consultation with me as a care coordinator to see how we could best serve you and what kind of results we think we can get for you.
Contact us at 952-835-6653 or online at advocaremn.com.
Jeepers, it's the creeper!
What do we do now? It's a mystery.
I know. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zoinks! It's Lucy, like our favorite State Farm agent lady.
Hi, gang. I'll handle it. And that's not really a monster.
Creeper!
Mr. Carswell!
You meddling kids.
State Farm takes the mystery out of dealing with insurance. Get to a groovier state.
Back to live action here at the Bloomington Ice Garden, as that was Peter Half-Louie, who was slow to get up. He was able to skate to his bench on his own power, looking like he was just shaken up. Under 2.5 to go in the meantime, and the stoppage may actually work in Kennedy's favor to really give them a rest without calling a timeout. Burnsville will send that up to the point, shot through traffic, and Burnsville with an open net, still loose, and how does that not go in? My goodness. As David Johnson now slow to get up as his helmet came off. How on earth did that not go in the net? You have to take a look at this replay again if you're watching, folks. Right on the doorstep. One of the best players in the state, Brock Besser, just fanned on it. Wow. They had a couple of good stabs at that puck. So back to live action. Johnson able to make the save. Again, though, time an issue here with Burnsville on top of Kennedy by a goal. There's a shot. Johnson makes the save. Schmitz tries to slap it away. We'll keep an eye on David Johnson to see how long he stays in. There's a pass to Rowers, a shot trying to go high, stick side, that goes wide. Minute 42. Connor Jensen will have it down low. We'll have it poked away from him. And here comes Burnsville 1-on-2 as they're going off on a change. Brock Besser will probably just try to tie things up. End up turning it over, but will waste a few seconds.
How long do you wait until the goalie is pulled, until Johnson's out?
I would say on their next rush they may go ahead and do it. I think the key is, though, they got to force a face-off in the Burnsville end and really try to get something set up. No icing. That certainly would have been a break that they were looking for. With a minute 12, Burnsville on top 4-3 and the puck in the Kennedy zone. And it's even better if you're a Burnsville Blaze fan. That wasted a good 5 seconds or so. Schmidt's trying to dig it out.
Kennedy needs to get this out of their zone so they can get the goalie out.
And they need to get a face-off, I think, in the Burnsville zone, too, to give that first line some rest to come back out onto the ice. Schmitz will have it, passing it over left side. Now loose near the bench, it'll be dumped in.
There goes the goalie.
As now David Johnson is off. It overshoots Wagner. It'll be dumped right back into the zone, no icing. Some confusion here for Kennedy. They may have had too many players onto the ice, but play continues. And now it's going to trickle in. Is it going to go in? It will. And it's a goal for Burnsville, empty netted. And that'll pretty much do it here as they're on top 5-3. A slow little trickler goes into the empty net.
That's the biggest risk, obviously, with pulling the goalie. As soon as you don't have an offensive pressure, someone can just shoot one from, what was that, the second, their own blue line?
Yeah.
And that shuts the door.
Kind of funny. It's almost like those golf things where you see guys with a close putt maybe blowing. Oh, I feel all the Kennedy fans trying to blow that puck wide. 5 seconds to go, and Wells will fire a last-second shot, gloved out of the air with 0.6 seconds left. As it'll be Burnsville who wins this game 5-3, a real squeaker over the Bloomington Kennedy Eagles. And boy, you got to give Bloomington Kennedy a lot of credit here in this game, playing really well as they'll come up short 5-3. We'll have the post-game show on the way next, brought to you by the Sun Current here on PSP Media.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
Welcome back here to the Bloomington Ice Garden. It's the Sun Current postgame show here on PSP. The Sun Current, your community news source for over 50 years in the Southwest Metro. Providing news on school board, city council, high school sports, and other events. Sun Current now mobile user-friendly at current.mnsun.com. It was Burnsville coming away with a 5-3 nail-biter victory over the Kennedy Eagles, who were trying to pull a monumental upset. And boy, Weston, they came close in the third period. You and I were kind of predicting it would be a period that would be dominated by the Burnsville, but really wasn't the case, as the Eagles had some good chances during the first 2/3 of that third period.
Yeah, at the beginning of the period, probably within 2 minutes, it looked like it was going to be all Burnsville. And as soon as Kennedy got one or two shots on goal, the momentum started to swing, laying a lot of pressure on Grudesburg. But in the end, they just ran out of time. The Eagles couldn't put anything in the net, and they had to pull the goalie, obviously leading to that very long dribbler to end the game 5-3.
Empty netter, yeah, goes in for Burnsville as they win this 5-3. But give Burnsville credit for battling through a tough matchup, a tougher game than they probably expected, and certainly give the Kennedy Eagles credit for giving all they had here against one of the best teams in Class 2A. Kennedy will fall to 11-11-1 on the season, 3-6 in the South Suburban Conference. Burnsville will go to 17-6-1 and 13-3 in the South Suburban Conference. Kennedy Eagles' next game will be actually tomorrow as they visit Champlin Park. Burnsville's next game will be coming up on Saturday when they take on Lakeville South. So that'll do it here from the Bloomington Ice Garden. Final score, Burnsville beats Kennedy 5-3. For Weston Doctor, this is Brett Johnson signing off.
Thanks for tuning in to live local play-by-play coverage of the Eagles High School sports. Tonight's broadcast was brought to you by Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, The Mulch Store, Alpha Investment Advisors, Performance Therapy Innovations, Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office, and Healthy Training. Keep it tuned to PSBMN.com for more broadcasts of Eagles High School sports.